All right. What is up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Help Me Understand podcast. Per the usual, I'm your host, Coach J.K. McLeod. We are kicking off episode number 293 of Help Me Understand. Today, I want to talk to you about the three types of people that will make or break your fitness habits. This is an episode that is going to be full of content that has been sitting in the hopper, sitting in the dome for a while here, while I've been fleshing out how exactly to put it all together. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this one because, like I said, it's been sitting in the brain for a while. Before going any further, though, I do, as always, want to say thank you for choosing to press play on the Help Me Understand podcast. I know that you have plenty of other podcast content that you can and most likely do consume. So I promise you that I truly never take it for granted that you chose to press play on Help Me Understand. So, as I mentioned, I've been thinking about this for quite a while because very often when people are having a hard time building or really staying consistent with their foundational fitness habits, which, as a reminder, the foundational fitness habits are eat well, sleep enough, and exercise regularly. I find that when folks are having a difficult time either building or maintaining those particular habits, they get really easy. They find it very easy to default to thinking that it specifically is either because they are lacking motivation at the time, or they switch to the complete other extreme and just feel like it's because they've just lost all sense of discipline. So that avatar who kind of swings in either direction tends to naturally just then move to the next step, is that I need to just try harder. I need to try and do the most extreme version of the thing that I believe that I have, quote unquote, air quotes, fallen off of. So that's what we just naturally kind of tend to do. And while I do believe that there is a time and a place to try and do an extreme version of something, I think that in these particular cases, when you find yourselves, when we find ourselves feeling like we have fallen off track, which I hate that language, but I'm gonna use it anyway because that's I think the most relatable for a lot of folks. People feel like they've completely veered off track. Well, I think there is a time and a place to do something that's extreme. I think that very often what we're missing is paying attention to or running through a list to ensure that our environment around us is actually set up to support what those foundational fitness habits are. I think that's a piece that we miss very, very often. So when I talk about the environment, I'm not only talking about your physical environment. Like an example of your physical environment designed to support, let's say, the habit of eat well would be how easily accessible are choices that you deem to be healthy in terms of being positive contributors to whatever eat well means for you. So you design your environment, what's in your fridge, what's in your cabinet, what's in your pantry list, all of those sorts of things. How are those things designed from an environmental standpoint in order to support that? So do you have more of the things that you find difficult to eat in moderation, or do you have less of those things? I'm not a big supporter of completely never having those things, by the way. So that's my bias right there. So that's what I'm talking about with the physical environment. As a part of your overall environment, though, I'm also talking about the people that are around you, like the people that are in your corner, in your circle. And that's really what I want to talk about today. So before going through what I'm deeming, again, basically the three types of people that will make or break your fitness habits, I do want to be crystal clear in giving credit to exactly where the inspiration for this came from. And the inspiration from this thought process, or this strategy, really comes from a sermon that I listened to on SoundCloud, excuse me, a number of years ago, and I've always kept it in my my saved library, and it was from TD Jakes. And if you immediately are like, oh, snap, TD Jakes, problematic, I'm not listening anymore, I understand. And so if you don't want to listen to the rest of it because this episode is inspired by that, then I totally understand. You will be moving on your way. Be blessed. No offense taken at all. However, if you are open to getting my spin and my perspective on something that was inspired by a sermon that he gave, then I think you'll benefit from this. So there was a sermon or a talk that he did called The Three Types of Friends. And very quickly to recap that, and what I'm actually going to do is I'll put a link to, I think, a copy of a summary of the sermon itself. I'll put that in the show notes if I can. Yeah, I think I can. He talks about three types of friends, and those three people, or the three types of people that you need around you as a leader. So one is the confidant. That's the person that is for you. The other one is the constituent. That is the person that is for what you are for. So for the cause that you are working on. And then the other one is the comrade. And that is the person that is against what you are against. So again, you've got the three types of people that you need around you. I believe this was a talk on leaders, people that were leading. He recommended that you understand, not necessarily have, but understand these three types of people that you're going to have likely around you. Your confidants, the people that are for you specifically, and I'll get into this and relate it to fitness and habits. So confidants are for you. Constituents are for the cause that you are trying to move forward. And then comrades are against the thing that you are fighting. Like they're with you in a common cause to fight against something. Okay. All right. So bringing it back to fitness and the foundational fitness habits. So I took basically that structure of the comrades, the confidants, and the constituents, and I created my own based on foundational fitness habits. So what I am going to share with you is the three types being, let's see, I jotted these down so I could keep this organized. So the anchor, the person who is the aligned, and the situational. So you're going to have the person who is anchored, or the people who are anchored. You're going to have the people who are aligned, and you're going to have the people that are there. They are situational. So let's walk through this. So first, you've got your anchor. If we're relating it to the sermon that I mentioned, really inspired all this, this is very similar to the confidant. So your anchor, that is the person who is in it for you. Like that is your ace. Back in the day, my dad and my grandfather would call that's your road dog. Like that is your person that is with you through and through. They care specifically about you, not just the particular result that you are looking for. They're super consistent. They're not conditional. So they're with you through thick, thin, and everything in between. It doesn't matter the weather. So they're like the male, like rain, shine, snow, sleet, whatever it may be. They are with you. And most importantly, in my opinion, they'll also call you out on what you said you were going to do. They call you out when your habits start slipping. So that is your anchor. The parallel, again, to the structure that T.D. Jakes gave is that this is the person that's the confidant. So they're for you basically, regardless of what you're doing. Like this is your BFF. Like this is your person. Now, from a fitness context, what this could really look like is the friend who notices that you've been just like a little bit off your game. And so they reach out to you to be like, yo, you good? Like, are you okay? It can be the partner who supports your routine, even when it's completely inconvenient for them. It's the person who recognizes that you said you were going to the gym after work and you ended up having to stay late at work. And that means that that's changing maybe a commitment that you had at home. And so they step in and they say, hey, I know that you wanted to go to the gym after work and you also were planning to do this other thing at home. I'm going to take care of this other thing at home and take your time, go to the gym, do your thing. So even when it's inconvenient for you, that anchor, that can look like that person who's in your life who will step in and just support your routine, even when it's inconvenient for them, because again, they support you specifically. It's the person who respects that your effort to eat better uh, is something that's important to you, and they don't make a big deal out of it. They're the person who, when you say when you excuse me when they offer you a drink and you say no, they don't really question it. They're just like, oh, you don't want to drink? You don't want to drink. Okay. And for them, it doesn't need to be some big outlandish explanation. They're just like, yo, you're not drinking? Okay, cool. You're not drinking. They're the person who protects your sleep by understanding what your boundaries are. So when you're talking to them on the phone and you say, hey, I got to go. And you can tell that you've got this person in your life because you say, man, I'm wearing down. I got to go. And you don't automatically always feel like you need to put some sort of explanation in there. I've got to go because I need to get up in the morning and I'm really sorry. And this whole like long drawn out thing, they're just like, okay, cool. Got you. Talk to you tomorrow. Okay. So that's somebody who can respect that. And it's the person who really tells you the truth when they can see that things are starting to move a bit off course from where you said you wanted to be. I also really thought about it in the analogy of a road trip. I love my analogies. So I also think of this being somebody who's like your co-pilot. So I'm going to use this road trip analogy throughout this episode. So you are the driver, just FYI. So you're always going to be the primary driver, I should say. But you can also have a co-pilot. So that anchor is kind of like your co-pilot too. So you're still the primary driver. However, this person most likely is always at the very least sitting in the passenger seat. Maybe once in a while, they'll even help you drive, like help you kind of when you need to nod off for a little bit or whatnot. They will typically help keep you alert. Like if you got a co-pilot, they're going to keep you alert. They're going to call you out, like kind of nudge you if maybe the car is kind of starting to drift into a different lane. And again, like if need be, they could probably just completely take the wheel for you if needed. So when it comes to this first type of person that you need in your life to build and maintain your fitness habits, the anchor, also, if the road trip analogy works for you, let's go with the co-pilot. You don't need many of these people. I'd say 1 to 2 of them in your life can completely change absolutely everything. And the thing that's really that the reality of it is that there's a decent amount of people that really just don't have this in their life. That's a separate episode that I don't know that I'm qualified to really work through those particular issues. Again, however, in conversations with folks, it's not uncommon for them to really think like, I'm not sure that I truly have somebody like that in my life, because primarily I believe that I'm mostly surrounded by people who primarily are only in my life to receive, or I tend to be like a people pleaser and they're completely fine for me to always be ready to change my plans for them. And they, if I say, oh yeah, I was getting ready to go to the gym, but, oh, you need me for something, they're not the person who says, oh, no, I didn't realize you had plans, like that sort of a thing. So again, that's the first person. That's your anchor. It's one person that you need. They are all about you. All right. The second person that you need is you need the aligned. You need that person who is all about what you are working on. So if we were, again, making that parallel to the sermon from TD Jakes, this would be the constituent. Okay. So they're not specifically in it for you. They're in it for the cause that you are working on, the thing that you are trying to drive forward. So they're all about, again, what you're working on, what you're working towards, not necessarily for you personally. They usually show up as long as that goal that you're working towards is a shared goal. It's something that they believe in. It's a cause that they believe in. It's something that they are all about. So again, they're what you're for, not specifically for you. So in a fitness context, right off the bat, this is very much where a coach comes into play, or your trainer. This also can be gym partners that you have maybe whether they're following the same plan or not, it's that accountability person, that person that's all about pushing forward a healthy lifestyle. That person that's all about going for the run, that person that's all about lifting weights. Like they're all about the, taking that movement forward, pardon the pun, but taking the movement forward that you are all about. These can even be people that are within your community, your training community. If you are part of a group training program or an app, like I've got the Fitness Foundations community, and uh, a big um, a big driver for that, or a big inspiration behind me putting that together and re-engaging that recently, has been all about making sure that there was some sort of environment where folks felt like they could have other people who are aligned with them on a common cause to move things forward. So this is where I think that you can really move the needle forward, especially if you don't necessarily feel like you have that anchor in your life, that person who's in it specifically just for you and supports whatever you do and holds you responsible from a friend to friend standpoint for the things that you say you're going to do. Ensuring that you have someone who is aligned, or a group of people who are aligned with the common cause, that's something that can really, really be helpful, especially when you're working towards something that's really positive. These can also be like friends who are temporarily focused on particular things, like improving their sleep, or improving their training habits, or uh, getting more aligned with like what it means to truly eat well. These can be people that are, they're there for a certain amount of time. Like they'll hop on and they'll do a 30, 60, 90-day challenge with you. And it's a common cause because they're moving towards that specific thing at that time. All right. So if we were to take again the road trip analogy, first, remember we had the anchor who was like the co-pilot. This would be more of the navigator. So this is the person that's not specifically driving. And this would even be basically like a person or a thing. This could be like the GPS. Like they're not driving, but they're helping you get where you said you wanted to go, because they have the common cause of the destination. So they're really locked into the destination that you are going to. All right. So they may help you with like maybe mapping out the route, provide some suggestions on some things to see along the way, best ways to get there, less tolls, all that good stuff. They'll make adjustments, just overall helping you stay on the path and keep you on track. I'd really just say that these folks and that system, they help you create structure, direction, and accountability that'll tie to the specific goal that you are looking for. The thing that you have to remember, though, is that when you have people that are aligned with you specifically for the thing that you're working towards, if the goal slash destination that you're working towards changes, then you shouldn't expect those people to stay with you, because the place that you're going is no longer aligned with where they're also going. And this is where folks really get things twisted, is that they confuse the person that is for the goal with the person that is for them. No, the person who's aligned, and in the sermon, the person who's the constituent, they're in it with you because you're working towards the same thing. If you're now working towards something different, then that particular individual respectfully is like, okay, cool. I see you're going that direction. That's not really a direction that I'm looking to go to. And we confuse that because we're like, oh, wait, I thought you were my guy. Like, I thought you were my girl. Like, I thought we were in this together, like all the way to the end. They weren't for you. They were for the thing that you were working towards. And again, I really encourage, if you're open to at least reading the summary of that sermon, it's pretty powerful. And I think it navigates through, I think it can navigate through a lot of different situations, not just in fitness. I just think outside of fitness too, at work and at home, just different places. So that is your second type of person that will make or break your fitness habit. So we've gone over the anchor, we've gone over the aligned, and then the last type of person that you will need is going to be the situational. That is the person who is similar to the comrade. They are all about fighting what you are against. So therefore, they are in it with the fight, like they're with it. So they're that person that you're like, yo, we're about to go somebody up. They're like, yo, I'm down with that. I hate them too. Okay. So that's who that person is. They're not specifically for you. They're not specifically all about like eat well, sleep enough, exercise regularly. They're just against the same problem that you're trying to solve. So again, these are the people who are the comrades that are talked about. So they unite around a common enemy, not specifically a shared vision for driving things forward. So in a fitness context, this would be like the I'm tired of feeling out of shape conversations that typically will spark some temporary motivation and some temporary action. So it's that person when you're sitting around in the break room or you're after a meeting or you're out socializing or whatnot, and they're just I'm just tired of feeling like fluffy. I'm tired of being fat or whatever it might be. So they're against something. That's what that person is. It can be somebody who jumps into the workout with you really out of frustration, not specifically out of commitment. So maybe working out is like they're just really stressed about something, and you say like, "Hey, I'm going for a run. You want to go for a run?" It's not specifically that they're all about running. They just know that they're pissed and they need to burn off some energy. So like, yeah, that's fine. You can have that person also is that person that's situational. Very many times will jump in with you if you're looking to do like that short burst of like quote unquote clean eating after that feeling of falling off track. You may confuse this with somebody who's like the aligned person who you're like, oh man, they're really in this because they truly see the value in eating primarily whole foods. But really what it is that their main motivator is the negative feeling that they had about falling off track, not the positive feeling that they're looking to get or the positive results that you potentially can get when you truly do eat well the majority of the time. Hope that makes sense. Um, Hope that makes sense there. And also, I would say that this is, again, very, very temporary, kind of like scaffolding here. Like they're there for a certain time. Like I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Like they're there while you need them. And then you can't expect them to stick around for too long. If you were, say you were trying to fix your sleep or something like that, again, there's somebody who would jump in on a challenge with you for a very short amount of time, not specifically because they want to move the needle on their sleep. It's because it's a reaction typically to like they are they've been feeling low energy because lately they haven't gotten good sleep. So a lot of times like the negative thing is what drives them. And again, very, very easy to mistake that for being somebody who's aligned with what you're for, but they're not really for what you're for. They are against a certain thing. And the thing that you're moving towards just happens to be very similar. So just something to really keep in mind here is that if your consistency is trying to be built with primarily having these types of folks in your environment, like these types of folks being like the situational person, then you're trying to build your consistency essentially on reactions. And that typically will fall off once the emotion has kind of faded in the situation. If I were to use my road trip analogy, I would say that this person would be the hitchhiker. So this would be the person that like they didn't get into it because of specifically where you were going. They got into it because they didn't like where they were. They just knew they needed to be somewhere. So that I think is a difference too. I might be killing this road trip analogy, but somebody will let me know either way. That navigator is in it with you because they know where you're going and they want to go to that same place. The hitchhiker is in it because they just know they need to get out of where they've been. Like, doesn't matter where, like, if you were driving down the road and you saw a hitchhiker, you decide to pick them up and you ask them, where are you going? And they say, wherever you're going, that's a hitchhiker. So just kind of keep that in mind. They don't have a specific destination in mind. They're just trying to get out of wherever they currently were. All right. So these are people that will help you with the reaction to whatever's going on, but generally they're not going to help you really build the consistency that you're looking for. So again, these are going to be, and we're going to be wrapping it up here, the three types of people that will either make or break your fitness habits. I can make an argument that you you can gain something from having each of these people in your life as long as you are able to recognize what they are. And that's why, I kind of use the teaser with like the people that will either make or break. I think that these people breaking, or these types of people breaking your fitness habits. So for example, like if we were to say that situational person is somebody who breaks your fitness habits, I'm a big believer in ownership. So the onus would be, once you recognize that this person they're the situational person. If you recognize that really they're there because of what you're against, not what you're for, then it's your job, your role, your responsibility to put that person in the right seat. I definitely wouldn't take that person and then put them as the navigator, and definitely wouldn't assume that they're going to be with me the entire way. So I think that for me, like the hitchhiker thing really helps. So some quick takeaways for you here. All right. So quick takeaways to close this out. Remember that you're the driver here. You are the primary driver here. You're going to have your three positions. If we're looking at the road trip analogy, you've got your co-pilot. They will help you stay steady. You then have your navigator. They will help you stay on track. And then you have your hitchhiker. They're going to bring your energy for just a little while. So your co-pilot, that's the person that's going to be your anchor. That is the person who is there right along with you, your road dog. Like they will never leave your side. Then you've got your navigator. That's going to be your person that is aligned with where you're going. So they are helping to map out that route. They are helping to make adjustments. They are that person who is going to be all about what you are for. So that's that person that's for what you are for. And then lastly, again, you've got that hitchhiker, which is going to be the situational person. They are against what you are against. And it's just that their primary motivator is what they're trying to leave, not necessarily what they're trying to move towards. So if you expect the hitchhiker basically to help you navigate, or you expect your navigator to care about you like your anchor or your co-pilot does, this is where you're going to get really frustrated. So I'm going to leave you with this question here. I always want to have some sort of actionable thing that you can work towards. And so I think that hopefully with the way that I've laid things out, it's been very easy to kind of navigate, pardon the pun, be easy to navigate just the three different types of folks that are going to either make or break. Again, it's up to you how your execution is of your foundational fitness habits. I just want to leave you with the question of asking yourself, who in your life is actually supporting you? Who's helping you get where you said you want to go? And who just jumped in because they didn't like where they were? So answer those three questions for yourself, and that should move you towards building and maintaining your foundational fitness habits. Eat well, sleep enough, exercise regularly. All right. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, shoot me an email, DM, whatever the case may be. All that info is going to be in the show notes. If it has not been helpful, if you think this just makes absolutely no sense, or maybe I can provide some more clarity, also shoot me an email or a DM, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right. So with that, we're going to call it an episode. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Help Me Understand podcast. Truly appreciate it. Take care. Talk to you next time. Bye now.